Everybody, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? Can you all hear me?
Can hear you, Moronke.
Okay, Femi, Femi, I would like to use this place for my cotitor. If you don't mind, you can keep snapping pots. Just let me use it. Hi guys. So, good evening. Welcome to another cotitor. I don't know if I need my camera. I'm not sure I need it. Let me just put it off. Sorry, I can't hear you.
You're fine. We can hear you fine.
I can't really pick your word.
Moronke, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you, Babs. What did you say?
Okay, it's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yes, so basically, this might talk won't be so long. I'll be talking about key lessons from building the insurance products. It's been a long, a long journey, but we're here. So I'll just pick one or two things that I've learned and what I think will what I think is applicable, not just for product managers but also for each and any one of us in the tech space or any other space we find ourselves sometime in the future. Um, so you can see my first interesting slide. There's this baby with a very weird looking face and eyes. So this was exactly the kind of reaction that I got the first time I was going to meet with FBN Insurance alone. Took us outside the country and we're supposed to go and demo the wireframes. And I remember then the what do they call the product manager that was handling the project. That's Mr. Abel, Wale's good friend. Kept on. It was really in so much fear because Tokes will not be there, and Tokes is sending two rookies that don't even know what is happening. Whereas actually he thought we didn't know what we're doing basically. So he kept on calling, asking me, what do we want to do? What do we want to say? What are we coming to say? He called me like 4 different times. And this was a man that before I can reach him in a day, I have to call him like 5 different times. He was calling me himself, like just calling me just to know what I want to do. Am I ready? What am I talking about? And I kept on telling him we're coming to demo wireframes, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't get the gist. He was a bit scared and all. But that one is just on a side note. So the first thing that I got from that is every demo is a sales opportunity. So whether you are demoing your wireframes, even when the project has not started, even if you've not written like one line of code, you are selling the product. When you at the point at which you've actually built something and you are going to show them that this is what we've done, is a time to also sell. If they call you in to test the product, whatever it might be, is also a time to sell. Whether you are having a pre-launch or whether you are going live, you are selling. So selling is basically what you are doing at the point of demo is you're not just showing the client or product owner, but why you designed it, and you also need to be able to explain. We actually so an example is I'm looking for the right example to use. So an example is I'm looking for the right. There's one example that came to mind. Okay, so an example is, let me take a product recommendation for example. So if you are going to explain product recommendation on the insurance project to let's say a board or something, So one of the things you want to tell them is why product recommendation? Why are you doing it? I mean, I can as well just go to where I can find all the insurance products and just select what I want. But one of the reasons why we built the product recommendation tool is, number one, we use it for customers. We want the customer to be able to go into the insurance products and basically be able to take themselves through a journey and get a solution at the end of the day. By taking it at which something on a customer doing is you're actually letting the customer travel on the journey yourself, where they can actually pick something that product. Why that was also done is because of new agents. We all know that the way insurance is sold these days is through. If you have an agent who really know much about insurance space, the product recommendation tool is actually one of the best way you can actually sell the product, because there is not force the customer to do these questions, and at the end of the day, something will be recommended that they can say, oh, based on the following questions that you answered, this is recommended. So if I'm going to design of the engine to a stakeholder, I would say, oh, I would just, when you click and click on this, you get this. So the idea is that you're selling, whether it's a wireframe you're showing them, whether it's you're just going to test, you're also telling them why and what. Whether you are doing a launch or whatever, you are demoing. Anytime you are demoing, you are selling the product. So this was their reaction when we finished the demo. Because I remember before the first demo, we looked like they didn't wear even it looked really small compared to them. They were all on suits, looking. But by the time we were, they were really impressed, and they kept on shaking us. They started calling me Big Madam. I know. So that's it about the first lesson. So the second lesson is many problems can be simplified using the right principle. And that takes me back to some of the problems that we had when we were designing the insurance product. Because insurance is really wide. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to take into consideration. There's a lot to think about and the rest. And it could be really overwhelming if you are building that kind of product. And with this set of steps that I put on my slide here, you have to start by understanding the simple things. So the first thing we did was to ask them basic questions. What do you do now? How do you sell now? How are your quotes calculated now? So we went as far as collecting the flyers of their products. I remember then I used to carry about like 10 flyers of different products in my bag. And the first thing we did was to put them on a spreadsheet and actually put them in tables just to compare the things that they have in common. As simple as that, we were able to solve a lot of problems by just putting it on a table. Then the next thing we did was to design a logic. So after putting it on the table, we were able to see that some of these products actually look alike and they share a lot of things in common. So an example is the way FlexiEdu works, or the way FlexiSave works, or the way EasySave works. So by the time we're able to see that, oh, these things actually, they look alike, it's not as hard as these people are portraying it, we're able to say, okay, let's start with the simple ones. So once we got the simple ones, we're able to design a logic around what we understood from the simple ones. And once we're able to implement that, and we're able to codify that and give it to them in an app, then we're now able to go back and say, okay, let's start tackling the ones that don't look like the simple ones. And the simple thing was to do was to layer. Of course, you won't build the complex one outside the simple ones. You layer what you've done what is existing, what you've already built, you layer the complex one on it. So that was how we were able to solve that problem. And this applies not just to building mobile apps or anything. You can apply it to any problem. You can apply it to even planning a trip or planning a wedding. In my own case, when I was planning my wedding, take the simple things first, sort that out before you start taking the complex things. And if you go to the next slide here, I just have the first spreadsheet that I created then for all their products. They all have categories, they have names. You can, from the flyers, you can tell that some use rate tables, some don't. The maximum age, the beneficiary, the everything. By the time we're able to do this, even with this spreadsheet alone, if I go to any of those meetings and I'm just talking and you'll be like, you know our product so well. And it's just by doing this. And so many people working in FBI and insurance, they don't even understand what is on this spreadsheet. And it's really very simple. Yeah. So, and of course, we're able to put that in a process flow based on what we understand by simplifying the product. We're able to draw a process flow around that, and that's what you have in this next screen. So, the third and the last thing is that end of a project is not the same for all stakeholders, and I had to learn that the hard way when we're handing over FB and insurance and WAPIC also, because we've not handed over WAPIC, but to close the first phase of the project, the kind of the same thing applies to both of them. So basically, when you say a project has ended, I mean that's if you are building a project for another company. It's not always the same everywhere. In some organization, you're actually building your own product, just like what we're doing with Ginger and what we're doing for the Dufuna project. But if you're building for someone external that you have to hand over at the end of the day, end of project is not the same for everybody. For the top managers, when you say you've ended something, what they want to see is numbers. They want to see, okay, I'm sure at this point when you say you ended the project, you must have launched, you must have some people would have started using it. They want to see numbers, they want to see how much has been earned, all those things. So if you can't show them that, that becomes a problem. And as far as they're concerned, they might even go ahead and say cancel the project. I mean, we've had such conversations even in this insurance product that we've worked on, which the tech team don't know about, you guys don't know about, and some people will come and say, let's just cancel it. And we'll just, have conversation here and there and bring everybody back to the drawing table. Then the second thing is the units handling the project. What end of project means to them is different. For them, they want to go to the letter of the contract. So if the contract says the admin should be able to fly when they see the mobile app, they will ask you that, why are they not flying? They want to go to every line of the project, every line of the contract. They want to go back and start ticking the box. Because at the end of the day, if any of that is not ticked and it gets to the management, it can actually bounce back on them. So, I mean, for Kota and Coach that we all work with now, end of project means money. So if we're not paid, there's no end of project. And also for the finance department, those are the people that authorize payments to be made in big organizations. End of project means their own team, have they taken over the project? And taking over the project is quite tricky with external organizations because they want you to hand over everything. They want you to tell them what's, even to the simple things. They'll say, show us how to log in into the database. They'll say, let's do a call. Let's log in together. Let's do this together. And those things actually take time. So I've learned that what end means is different for different stakeholders. And yeah, thank you. That's it.
No questions for you.
I don't even know if anybody can hear me. Guys, I'm done. It's a short slide.
So that was 70%. 70% was a Who else there? Okay, no, no, no. It's what you feel. Temlade. Temlade. Sorry. Oh, no, actually, that's not. But the writer is your class. Test class. I enjoy the word of here.
Hello.
It's not very well.
Wait, have I been talking to myself? Hello. Hello.
Nobody's saying anything.
I don't know. Oh, okay. I can hear you now. Okay. But did you hear what I said?
We heard all you said. Okay, now the able
Oh, okay. I've been hearing they heard actually. All right, so guys. Okay, okay.
That's
I'm listening.
Yeah, so you said something about being overwhelmed and like so those times when you were overwhelmed, when the top management threatened to stop the project and like what did you do? What actions did you
Yeah, so it actually depends on who is saying they want to stop the. Sorry, let me move from where I am so that you can hear me. So basically, there are only few people that can threaten to close the project, and that's the most of the time they are the guys at the top, are the like the chairman, the MD, the all that. So for every project that you're doing for external organization, you need to have a key stakeholder that is on your side. So I'll give you an example. For FBN insurance, the key stakeholder is someone called Rivers. She's the CTO of FBN insurance. So basically, for every project that you're bidding for someone external, you need somebody that can stand as a like an intermediary between you, that's Cutter and Coach now, and the company itself. And that person needs to be someone that the board also trusts, the people in the high places in such organization. So you need such people on the project. And if that kind of person is missing, it might be quite difficult for you to navigate that kind of thing. So that's why for us in Quarter and Course, every time we are building products for big organizations, we always have that one person that we're interfacing with. They might not be the person we're interfacing with every day, but they are the kind of people that they kind of serve as like a deal breaker, so to say. So when you have issues, people saying this is nonsense, why are you doing this project? Let's close it. That kind of person is the person that will say, oh, this is why we did it, this is why we did that. Because that person has a bit of credibility, they will be able to talk because really it's not a Quarter and Push problem. It's more like their problem. So that person needs to be there because if they close the project today, is a loss for Quarter and Push. So that kind of person needs to be there. So before you start any project, but if the person that is saying that they want to close the project is somebody that doesn't have that kind of authority, but is also threatening that they want to close the project. So the questions you want to ask is why. I mean, it could be as little as somebody trying to. It could be as little as they downloaded the app. Let's say the customer app, for example, now, and they're supposed to see their policies and they didn't see it. So as far as they are concerned, if they can't see their policy, the app is not working. So it could be as well, oh, is it because of the policy? Okay, let's check why this is not working. Then we check, we make sure that, oh, okay, this is why it's not working. We fix the problem. And they take it back to such person and person like, oh, okay, it works. Okay. Then at that point, you also take the time to also demo. And when you're demoing, what you're doing is also selling it to the person all over again. That see, this is why we did this, this is why you did that, this is why I do that. And you'll be back on track. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Ronke.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ronke. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I'll make it longer next time.
All right,
All
Ronke.
right,
Bye
thank
bye.
you. Bye.